You're watching Crypto Trader on CNBC Africa, the world's first televised cryptocurrency investment show. We've had a stable week on the markets this week. Joining me in studio today is Matt Owen and Marcus Swanepoel. Matt, stable week on the markets. Started off with the news from China.
Yeah, so as you can see, it has been stable for the last couple of days, but it did recover after a sharp drop-off that happened just over, for the last 2 weeks really. And yeah, I was feeling that the market was a bit oversold, so it bounced back quite strongly. And yeah, over the last couple of days, it's been in a bit of a consolidation phase, I could say.
So in true crypto style, the market went down to what everyone thought was going to be the end of crypto. It wasn't the end of crypto, and 24 hours later, the Bitcoin price bounces back to almost $4,000. It's been hovering there. What do you think the next move is?
Yeah, so I think it's been consolidating, and depending on what happens with the volumes, if they pick up, I think we could see it continue its upward trend. But yeah, it all depends on what the market feels.
If you look at Twitter these days, you've got the guys that are calling it back up like a rocket, and then you've got the other guys who are saying, look, it's reached the double top and it's going to start going down again. And you know, the funny thing is I've seen chartists draw the rocket up and draw the rocket down. So Matt, I'm putting you on the spot here. Are we looking at a rocket up or are we looking at a rocket down?
I'm thinking that there may be a bit of a correction before it rockets up.
And when you say a bit of a correction, put your money on a Bitcoin price. Correction to where?
I would say around 3,700 before it starts its upward trajectory again.
So 3,700 is your number, and then it's going to go up again.
That's what I think.
Great. Let's talk about the other tokens. So you've got Ethereum. Ethereum struggling to reach $300 again.
Yeah. So Ethereum, it's when the market kind of crashed, it did fall below just below 200, and it's recovered a fair bit since then to just under 300, but. It's struggling along like a lot of the other cryptocurrencies out there after the market sell-off.
What about Neo? So Neo, the Chinese version of Ethereum, or what we like to call the Chinese version of Ethereum, they claimed that they're not that on our show last week. It's also struggling to get up again. It was up at $40 at one stage, back down at 20, struggling to get up.
Yeah, so Neo was always going to be negatively impacted by the China bans and whatnot. But they're having their first ICO launching on top of the Neo network. It's called Red Pulse, and that's happening in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes.
But how is that happening? If you've got Neo that's not allowed to do ICOs in China, Neo is based in China, where's Red Pulse based?
Red Pulse is based in Hong Kong, so it's a completely autonomous location as opposed to China. So they haven't allowed any Chinese mainland residents to participate in this ICO.
What about ARK? Now, I was watching ARK when the market was going down, and ARK was going up. What's going on?
Yeah, so ARK is quite an interesting one. They aim to kind of be the bridge between blockchains. So essentially, when it comes to blockchains, they act generally by themselves, and they limited options to kind of interact between blockchains. So ARK is aiming to be the bridge between blockchains in general. So people have been quite bullish, and then when the whole market was crashing, they released a new roadmap, which was quite comprehensive and detailed, and people were quite bullish about it. And the other thing is that they are a delegated proof of stake model, and through that model, a lot of people that hold the tokens hold them within the ecosystem. So they weren't able in a short time frame to kind of pull those out and kind of sell them on the platforms. So as a result, the price has been increasing quite nicely over the last few months.
Let's look at some other news in Bitcoin or blockchain. We've got Marcus Swanepoel with us. Marcus is the founder and CEO of Luno. Marcus, you guys raised $9 million in a Series B funding. Tell us about what you need this money for.
Look, as we all know, digital currencies and cryptocurrencies are at a very exciting stage. There's unprecedented demand across the board, no matter what country you look at. If we look at our metrics, up and to the right everywhere. it's still particularly, quite difficult for people to access the digital currencies. For all of us sitting here, and maybe some of the viewers are, they already have their wallet set up and they have trading accounts. But for the next 100 million people, the next 1 billion people, those people all need to get access to it. So essentially, we're using this money to make that onboarding process even easier, the funding process easier, faster. We'll spend some of that around Bitcoin education and digital currency more broadly. And of course also to expand into other markets. We're now in 40 markets, and we'd like to extend that over time.
So you've got some very high-profile investors in your company. Who are some of these investors?
So our Series A was led by Naspers, which many people know is one of the biggest tech investors in the world. Very well known for being the biggest investor in Tencent, which is based in China, so that's quite interesting. We also have in our Series A around Ventura Capital, which is a big Southeast Asia fund, and DCG, Barry Silbert and the folks over there. Yesterday we announced a Series B round with 2 new investors coming in. The first being Balderton Capital, which is one of the big European investment funds. We've known them for a couple of years, super excited to have them on board. And of course also Ran Merchant Investments, which is a South African financial conglomerate through AlphaCode. They also came into the round.
So when I look at your platform, at the moment and for the longest time I can remember, you can only trade Bitcoin.
Yes.
And the people are saying to you, we want other currencies. Are we going to get other currencies on Luno?
Yes, so you are right that the people are asking a lot.
A lot?
A lot, yeah. And it's accelerated over the past couple of months. We are actively working on some things, but I can't say exactly what.
So when can we start trading other currencies on your platform in South Africa?
Just if you keep on asking, it'll happen quick.
If I keep on asking,
just send me another email, another WhatsApp. No, we acknowledge there's a big demand for this stuff, and we look actively working on some stuff.
So last week we saw China banning Bitcoin trading. You guys are expanding into many markets. You already are in 40 markets. What are the regulators in other markets saying about platforms like Luno actually working in the market?
Yeah, look, we've over the years built up very strong relationships with many of these regulators. I think the tone, generally speaking, is that they're being quite pragmatic about it. I don't think there's any regulator in the world that's jumping up and down and going, oh, this is the best thing that's ever happened, can't wait for it to go massive. But they are at least giving it time to develop, to see how one does regulate it. Of course, many companies like ourselves self-regulate. We do KYC, we do AML. In fact, we spend a ton of money and time on building these systems out. And so that also gives them some comfort. So depending on where in the world who you talk to, I think there's obviously a continuum of views. But generally speaking, I think there's at least many people are being open about it, and over time we will figure it out together.
So guys, I'm going to ask you both the question. Do we think that Bitcoin trading in China is finished? Matt, do you think Bitcoin trading in China is finished forever?
No.
No. When do you think they're going to bring it back?
That's a hard one to answer. I don't quite have an answer on that front.
Marcus, Bitcoin trading in China, gone forever?
Definitely not gone forever. All three of us at this table have been through this a million times before. It'll be back, I think, even before December.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but the guy that actually broke the story about the China ban on Twitter was Charlie Lee, when he posted that picture of himself in that huddle shirt, which said that he had it on good authority that people in China were going to ban Bitcoin trading in China. And the whole of Twitter slandered him, and he took off the tweet. Charlie Lee, why did you take down the tweet?
Well, I removed the tweet because I was kind of sick and tired of reading all the comments of people replying saying that I'm creating more FUD. So all I was trying to do was to just let the world know that that I know that the Chinese are going to ban Bitcoin trading or cryptocurrency trading in general, and I didn't want to create more FUD. I wasn't trying to create more FUD. I was trying to tell people the truth and letting people know it before the news actually came out. But I got tired of people just being mad and even like sending me death threats and stuff. So I just deleted it and kind of just said, just let it happen.
So you deleted that tweet, but then you posted another tweet insinuating that OKCoin and Huobi would soon be banning trading anyway. What did you know back then?
When BTC came out with the news that they actually are going to stop trading, OKCoin and Huobi said that they didn't hear anything about it and they're going to proceed as normal. And a lot of people were saying, oh, this is not Chinese banning trading, but it's just Chinese shutting down BTCC because they listed an ICO coin. And I wanted to make it clear that that's not the case, because it's just that Huobi and OKCoin have not really talked to the regulators yet. So once they talk to the regulators, you will find out that they will have to shut down also.
But what did you know? You must have known something. Who had you spoken to?
I spoke to quite a few people in China. So the thing about, it's weird, the Chinese news, China news and like the Western world, there's kind of a disconnect where things will be known in China, and because of, I guess, language barriers and stuff, it just doesn't get across the borders of the country, and people outside would just refuse to believe it, or they would just create like FUD around it. They would just create their own version of it. So I was trying to kind of set that straight.
But did the People's Bank of China actually issue a statement? Did they go to the exchanges? How does it work in China?
They issued a statement on September 4th. And the statement was to the effect that ICOs are illegal, that people cannot do ICOs and cannot trade ICO tokens. And part of that statement, they also kind of hinted that cryptocurrency trading is also banned. But the way they wrote it led to multiple interpretations. And one interpretation is just that ICO token trading is banned. The other interpretation is that all cryptocurrency trading is banned. And people wanted to believe that all day shutdown was ICO trading, so they actually accepted the interpretation saying that the ICO tokens are banned. But in reality, the government actually did come out and say all cryptocurrency tokens are trading is banned.
Your brother holds a high-profile position at BTC China. Had you spoken to him?
I was talking to him, but I was also talking to a lot of other people in China also.
So what does this mean for crypto in China? Is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading now banned, totally banned in China?
I would say cryptocurrency trading is banned in China, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Potentially they could license exchanges to do cryptocurrency trading in the future and open up again. But for now, the trading is completely banned. Whether or not the actual currency using like writing a note is banned, there's conflicting reports on that, and we'll find out more information in the future. But for now, cryptocurrency trading is banned. And the reason why China did this is because the recent ICO craze has caused too much volatility and too much risk. This is what I believe. I think it's just become too hard to handle for the government, because if there's people losing a lot of money, it could cause social unrest. So they wanted to kind of keep this, keep people from doing risky activities.
What does this mean for people who work at exchanges or who own exchanges? I mean, are they just going to shut down and fire everyone?
BTCC has a international exchange, so they're still running that. They have their mining pool business. They have their physical Bitcoin business. So they still have businesses. It's just that they're shutting down their BTC China exchange in China. So yes, it's a big blow to them, but I think they'll survive.
Next week, London is hosting the World Blockchain Forum. So we've got the organizer of the World Blockchain Forum on the line all the way from London. Mo Levine, welcome. Tell us about why you're hosting the World Blockchain Forum.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys. What we can see there at every event, we basically have a snapshot of the industry. And here we're having a snapshot of the ICO market, what it looks like now in terms of the regulation, in terms of the growth and funding. And to a lesser extent, we're going to be discussing some of the major issues in the industry, like China's ban on ICOs and cryptocurrencies. We could expect a gathering of 600-700 people, industry insiders, investment group. We have regulators and countries coming to join to unlock the potential of the blockchain and what's happening now in the industry.
Are we going to see ICOs there? Are ICOs actually going to be pitching?
So we've got about 50 ICOs exhibiting. 40 ICOs are pitching on day 1 and day 2. and we've got some of the biggest investment groups, private investment groups, family offices looking to invest in ICOs there as well.
Mo, tell us a little bit about why you decided to host the World Blockchain Forum. Why did you actually decide to create it?
The industry didn't have a conference in 2013 and 2012 when I started my first events. And since then, there hasn't been good enough events done by people that love the topic and love the industry. Many events are done by conference companies that'll produce anything from advertising conferences to wearable tech conferences to blockchain tech. But this is done by somebody like myself, who's an active investor in cryptocurrency, active investor in blockchain companies, and want to see the industry succeed.
Mo, we look forward to seeing you next week at the World Blockchain Forum, and we'll be crossing over live and sending live updates to our viewers. So I asked Twitter where I could get the best information about charts and how to trade with charts. And the answer was absolutely unanimous. Everybody said, get Kazanomics on the show. So I get Kazanomics on the show. This guy is not your normal chartist, as you guys can see, but he seems to know everything that he's talking about when it comes to charts. Kaz, give us a little bit of background about how you use charts to trade or what you look for.
I look for fractal patterns of behavior that occur in all time scales. Price is a graph of human behavior over time. It's more of a consensus of what we believe about the fundamentals as price charts age than it is a graph of fundamentals. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they're graphing fundamentals, but you're graphing human behavior.
So what you're saying is that it doesn't matter what you're actually trading, the human behavior is the same regardless.
Regardless, exactly. It's why we can see crash cycle charts on the NASDAQ, the Nikkei, cryptocurrencies, and any time scale. You can see what's known as an emotional crash cycle on any asset because you're graphing people. It doesn't matter the asset. We all react the same to losing half our money.
So let's see if your approach actually works. You sent me a chart. The chart's called the Bitcoin Weekly Log Chart. What can we see in this chart?
What you're seeing is actually a bull wave that extends from late 2011 through till the climax high with Mt. Gox's debacle that happened in the end of 2013. What I'm showing you in the orange boxes is local accumulation patterns, which we call shockwaves, that occur along the bull tide until you reach the highest one at around the end of 2013, where it had the lug out of the glasses pointing. In that box range, you can see a massive volume spike that occurs when we have a dump move that happens up there. That dump move is the beginning of real selling. It is the absolute highest volume that you see in the last few years until that point, and it leads to a 2-year decline or bear market that ends in late 2015. Once that bear market ends, we actually see the same structural pattern in the second bull tide that leads out of there after September and all the way to where we are now. In the box range at the end of that tide that we have at this current date, we actually see the same kind of volume climax, which is the highest volume spike since we broke out of the low box range accumulation of the bear market. It either signifies real selling again, like it did in the top of the last bull tide, and with what's going on in China, we have some fundamental shifts in the market that are not quite clear. So either this massive volume climax is going to lead to further selling through the volume of climax low, which happened at about 3,000. And if we should break that, we could expect possibly to enter a second bear market.
So I'm looking at this chart, and what this chart's saying to me is beware because we're going into a second bear market. You sent me another chart. It's called the Bitcoin Daily Chart. What am I looking at on that chart?
On the Bitcoin Daily Chart, we zoomed in to the structure you're seeing in that last box range, and we have the dump and the massive volume climax. Two things to watch. You shouldn't really hang your hat on one specific bias. The real reality is if we manage to break the volume climax level, then there's a good chance for further selling. However, if we can violate the downward trajectory of this decline in this range and structure out closer to that green box I put under 49.70, you may stage for another rally to break highs. If we can break highs with that volume climax, there's a good chance this thing just absolutely moons through 5,000.
So as a trader, what are you doing today? When I look at this graph, what does it tell me about what I should be doing right now, today, given the levels of Bitcoin, where they are today?
Well, where you are, if you look at Bitcoin's history, it's got a finite supply, and we keep on having aggregate demand shifts through adoption. There's some corporations taking interest in this. There are central banks interested in blockchain. You have now a celebrity wave of rappers and movie stars starting to push crypto. This is very reminiscent of 1999. So you can have one more, what we call a dumb money wave, where just the absolute last people who've ever heard of crypto show up in here. And if that happens, and we manage to break highs with that going, that's a lot like reminiscent of 1999, where you had like hip hop stars talking about the NASDAQ. So if we get one more injection of capital from one more tier of people who are outside this market into this and break highs, we could see this extend. As far as being on a daily chart right now, what you should do, you need to exercise some patience and let this further develop.
The Ethereum graph. What are we looking at in the Ethereum graph?
In the Ethereum graph, we are looking at the formation of what looks like one massive shockwave. The pump in Ethereum is absolutely epic. You have a core position down at about $13 in the accumulation, and we ripped 400. So generally in markets, you move from high volatility situations to low volatility situations and back again. Ethereum really needs to work off some of the energy from the June climax that led to this high. It's still narrowing its range and consolidating for a position that will ultimately lead to another large scale move. But right now, Ethereum, after coming off such a ridiculous performance this year, is going to need some time to work off this energy.
So basically smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller shock waves until we break through those lines. Kaz, you're not the normal trader, you're not the normal chartist, but you are going to be a normal, regular feature on my show, that I can promise you. One of the industries that's going to be most affected by the blockchain is obviously banking. In fact, I think the bankers are themselves. And for good reason, because if you see what my next guest is doing, you'll understand. Christian Kangro is from Change Bank in Singapore, and they're currently busy with their ICO. Christian, thanks for joining us. What are you guys up to at Change Bank? What does Change Bank actually do?
So as you know, cryptocurrencies are faster and better way to do currencies. So what we are really doing is we are bridging this cryptocurrency world to the real world. So we are helping people to spend their cryptocurrencies at Starbucks. We're helping people to spend their cryptocurrencies as investments, take credit in cryptos and so on.
And how exactly are you doing this? What does that mean practically?
So practically we give people a debit card, so Change Bank debit card, what they can use with their Bitcoin, with their Ethereum, with their Litecoin. They just go to Starbucks like with dollars and just pay for it. And what we also do is we also build a marketplace of the best-in-class services, what you can also use cryptos with.
Give me some examples of these best-in-class services that you're talking about.
Sure. For example, as you know, there's a real unbundling of financial services going on. There are robo-advisors what are doing investment better. There is a lending club what is doing, credit better. There's Oscar what is doing insurance better. So we're taking this best of in-class finance technology companies and integrating them together to the marketplace to build a fintech bank, so to call, or a super bank.
So what you're doing is you're actually aggregating financial services or blockchain type financial services under one platform called Change Bank.
Exactly. So we think the future of finance is not only decentralized currencies like Bitcoin, but we also think it's about decentralized banking. So this is what our vision is, and there are over 3,000 investors who share our vision in the world right now.
So you're not actually launching your own cryptocurrency as such for use as a currency, is that right?
I mean, we will be launching our own currency as well, but it's more like a token to use on the marketplace. So basically, if you want to use different services on the marketplace, you will be using Change Coin, what is a dedicated token for this, and it's built on Ethereum network.
So give me the use case for the token. The users that buy the tokens in the ICO, who will actually use those tokens, and what's the use case?
Sure. So currently, the 3,000 people who invested over $12.5 million in Change Bank, these people will be able to have the future revenue share in the company. So if Change Bank ecosystem, the marketplace ecosystem gets bigger, they will get increasing fees from the system.
So is that almost like an equity transaction? I mean, they're not equity holders, but does the token act almost as a form of equity?
We do think strongly it really has a utility value because this is the only token you can use on the marketplace. But yeah, you do also get some aspects of security as well, just like in any other cryptocurrency like Ethereum.
And how many tokens or how much money are you raising? How many tokens are you issuing? And how many have you already sold?
So we're raising a total of $50 million, as the capital requirements in cryptos is quite significant. And with the first week, we've already sold 25% of this. So there has been intense interest from investors around the world, and actually ran a lot from Africa as well.
Fantastic. And when does your ICO close?
So it closed on October 16th. So it will close in around 3 weeks. And then we will actually close the sale, and then we get our own team together, and we really start focusing on building this great product, because as you know, cryptocurrency capitalization has increased 13 times this year, and you need to have a way to spend it, and that's why Change Bank is here.
Give me some insight who your team are. How big is your team? Who are they?
My team is around the world. We're based in Estonia and Singapore. They are blockchain experts, there are marketing experts, there are product engineers. So it's a very diverse bunch, but we're really in our DNA. It's Estonia and Singapore, what are both leading tech hubs.
For our viewers who want to participate in your ICO, where can they go?
So they should go to change-bank.com, and here there is all the information there. Like any other ICO, there is a white paper, there is a product demo of our last product. They can see our team, they can see videos, they can see our partnerships. Some high-profile people who are supporting us, like the ex-CEO of DHL, and they just open their Ethereum wallet and just make the transfer and automatically get Change coins in return.
So you make the decision. Should the banks be scared or shouldn't they?
They definitely should, because we're coming from them. Change is coming.
So it seems like we've got stability back in the crypto markets, well, at least for now. The prices are hovering around Bitcoin at about $4,000, Ethereum just under $300. If anything happens between this show and our next show, you can get me on Twitter at CryptoManRan, and I'll answer any questions that you may have about cryptocurrency. Until then, let's hope the prices go to the moon.